Hey guys, it's John Farrell with the Farrell Law Firm. Today we're going to be talking about a survivorship clause that you'll find in almost every last will and testament. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and make sure that you like the video. It always helps. All right, again, my name is John Farrell with the Farrell Law Firm. Tell you a little bit about myself. I am the author of Estate Planning for the Modern Family, and I've also been voted one of the top 3 lawyers here in Cobb County, along with the law firm being voted one of the top 3 law firms here in Cobb County, Georgia, which is where I practice. Now, today we're going to be talking about a survivorship clause that you will often find in a last will and testament or a trust. As a matter of fact, just this week, I was sitting at this very conference room table having what we call the final signing meeting with one of our clients, and they asked about this specific provision. Now, I will put that specific provision in the comments below in the description, so you can check it out there and see what it looks like. But you may have seen it in your own last will and testament. It'll say something to this effect, that if there is a dispute as to who passes away first when it comes to spouses perhaps dying in a simultaneous death, sometimes people will call that the Titanic clause, if everybody just passes away all at once. So what happens, when a spouse passes away? Oftentimes we will have this image in our mind that one of the spouses will pass away and the other will go on to live a long and fruitful life, and they eventually pass away at some point, leaving everything to the children that the two of them have together. But there are times when you happen to be in the car together when something happens. What happens when it's unclear as to who passes away first when it comes to spouses? Well, that's where the survivorship provision comes in. It'll have a determination about which of the two passed away first, so that it just it does 2 things. One, it will help with estate tax issues you may have, allow for portability over to the other spouse, but also help with probate issues, just make things smoother when it comes to probate. Now, there's also often another survivorship clause that goes along with the specific survivorship clause when it comes to the spouses, but this one is relating to the beneficiaries, and it will say something like, my beneficiary must survive me by at least 30 days. And you may be asking, well, why is that even in a last will and testament? And it's really there so that you, the person who drafted the last will and testament, can control the assets that you leave behind to people. So imagine this. Imagine that you have a son that you're leaving everything to. You're not married, and the son, who's an adult, he has his own will, and his own will, he is left 100% to either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. You can really just choose either one. Now, if you pass away, if there's no such clause in your last will and testament, and this person were to pass away, and 20 days later their son were to pass away, if you didn't have this clause in your last will and testament and trust, what would happen is that this person's assets would pass to their son, and because their son had a will that left everything to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, whichever the case may be, that's where this person's assets would go. Well, they may think, well, if my son passes away relatively soon to when I do, I wouldn't necessarily want him to dictate where all of my assets go. For example, you might not want them to go to the Democratic or Republican Party, whichever one this person may choose. Perhaps you have a charity or a church that you'd like to send things to, in the same way that if the son had predeceased you. So for example, you might say something like, well, if my son isn't alive when I pass away, I want his share to go to this particular church or this particular charity. Well, if you don't have that survivorship clause in there, then it doesn't work that way. What will happen is you pass away 20 days later. When the son passes away, it goes however his will dictates, and you might not like that. All right, so those are the 2 survivorship provisions you typically see in a last will and testament. And so I had a question this week and thought I'd get onto the video and explain really what that means. If you have any questions about last will and testaments and would like for us to assist you, make sure you check out the description below find out more information about us. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we put new videos out every Tuesday and Friday related to estate planning topics. And make sure you hit the like button because it always helps. All right, you have a good day.